Hi guys, Alistair here. Today we're going to train an image classification model. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some disorganized images of dogs, cats and foxes, and then we're going to classify them using the oslo.vision tool. We're going to create a dataset, and then after we have that dataset we can use that to train a classification model. And then we're going to have a look at how the training went, and talk a little bit about what is a classification model and why would I want to use it. Surely I should just be using object detection. Why would I want to use image classification? So we can cover some of those points later in the video. So let's get started. First thing is to start and create a project. Let's call it dogs, cats, foxes. And we're going to select image classification as the project type. Now we're going to upload some images. There we go. Lots of cute dogs, cats and foxes. We'll upload them. There we go. Send it to myself. It's processing the import job. Now we're ready to annotate. So first step is to create the classes for the first time. Cat. Now it's actually possible to use keyboard shortcuts here as well. So instead of using the mouse, you can just use your keyboard to switch between the different classes, and then save by hitting enter. You can then move on to the next image by hitting the arrow keys. It's also possible to edit by clicking on the right hand side. If you've incorrectly selected. Excuse me. So yeah, we're going to go through, annotate all these 700 images to create a data set which we can use to train our image classification model. Okay, so we've approved that. In the dataset now, let's create an export. It's the folder type. Let's decrease test images, increase validation for better training. Now it's creating our folder export. There we go. Cool. Now we've got our export there. Now it's time to train a model. So what we'll do is we'll just go into our Google Colab library, and you can see there we've got the YOLO V8 classification model. So we're going to click on that, connect it to a hosted runtime, make sure it's GPU, connect to that. Now we can just run through the notebook together and train a model. So yeah, we're just checking the GPU is connected, installing Ultralytics, which is the library that we're going to use for training our classification model. It takes a little bit of time to churn through this Ultralytics install. There we go. Now we just check that we got a home directory, and now we start copying some things to allow us to export from Oslo. Initially it was the project identifier. Now we can create an API token. Paste that in there. Dataset version, in this case we've only got one export, so it's dataset version 1. Then we run this, and then it will pull down our dataset to this Colab notebook environment. There we go. We've assigned it to a dataset path variable, which we can then refer to in this YOLO CLI call to do training, where we specify the type of model we would like to train. So we're training for 100 epochs. I will fast forward the video slightly so we do not need to watch 100 epochs training. And boom, there we go, trained. Let's just double check that the train directory is there. Good stuff. Let's have a look at the confusion matrix, looking very good. 2 errors, everything else is perfect. Let's look at the training graphs, looking reasonable. 100 epochs look like a good amount of time to train for. Let's now validate to check the overall accuracy. It looks like we're running 99% accuracy, which is very good. Now let's do some inference on the test set to actually look at some of our detections up close. This is stuff that the model has not seen under training. However, if you look at some of the data set, you'll see that it's a little bit like some of the images are slightly rotated versions of other stuff, so there's a little bit of overlap between training and validation. So this could affect the quality of how our model is performing. We might be overfitting potentially. The foxes, 100% perfect. This little script will just go through the JPEGs and then just show them in this Colab notebook, so you can see lots of dogs, and the model thinks they're dogs, so this is really good. And if we want to have a look at the cat images, then I think we need to change the directory to predict 2. That's where the cats are. It's a second test call that we did. Have a look in here. Yep, you can see, yeah, cat. Lots of cats. So yeah, it looks like our training was very successful. So yeah, we've used Oslo to create a dataset, and we've exported that dataset, and then we have trained it in Colab. You don't necessarily need to train in Colab. You could download this Colab notebook and run it in your own local Jupyter environment, should you wish. Also interesting thing is that you can download these weights and then use them in the future in your own code. So you just go to the file browser, go to the classify train directory weights, and then best.pt is the PyTorch weights, which you can use, which is the best epochs. So it would be the best score that I got from it when it was doing the validation step. So that's generally the best one to use. You might ask, when should I use image classification? Generally, when we've used it previously in production, we've used it as part of a pipeline. So it's not like you have an input image and then you're running classification on that as is. It's often we, for example, have one fish classifier where we'll have the output of a certain object detection step, which will identify some fish specifically, and then that we have a model which will go in and is trained to decide whether it's a good image or a bad image. So that's kind of really useful where you want a kind of yes/no answer, or sort of more detailed classification after a previous model step has been run. We found it very useful when you're working with pipelines, and often if you're doing complex tasks, it's better to have, or simpler to have, a number of models working in a pipeline as opposed to one big model that you hope can detect and do everything. Alright, well, I hope this has been helpful, and yeah, check out oslo.vision, use it for your dataset management purposes. Thanks very much. Bye for now.